Hello.
Hi friends, welcome back to Angie's tutorial. I really like what you got this week.
I know, me too.
I'm super excited about it.
Yes.
It is, it's not springtime here in the Rockies, but it's kind of a faux spring today.
Yes, it's been kind of a warm week.
Yeah, it's been nice. I've been barefoot in shorts, and although it's not over, we are embracing it to the best of our ability. And you did a great springtime project this week.
Thank you.
It is amazing.
I made it for us, so hopefully we love it. I love it.
I love it. If you love it and I love it, that means we love it.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you show it since you're the...
Yes. So this is what I worked
at
on.
that.
I love it.
Look at how beautiful that is. I'm going to bring it up so they can get a little bit more detail.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. That is awesome. Nice colors.
Yes.
Lots of just beautiful creativity. And this just screams spring to me.
Me too. It makes me feel kind of cheerful when I look at it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. You did such a good job. So you're going to walk us through.
I am.
How you did this, and you're actually going to walk us through while you did this.
Right. I filmed while I was making it, and we'll show you clips and kind of walk you through it. I did want to show you the supplies that we used for this. I made one of these at Christmas time. I just bought this little wood round from Hobby Lobby. They have these, I think, all the time. And I like to wait till they're 40% off and grab them.
I think it was like $5.
Yeah, it's $8.49 regular, but if you hit a sale, you can get even better price. But so yeah, we started with this.
We bought a few of them.
Oh, you know what? There was another color of paint. So I used 3 DIY colors. I used weathered wood, which you don't see a lot of, but that's a base coat.
Oh, okay.
And then I mixed together Bohemian blue and white Swan, and that's the light blue color that you see. And then I used the Bohemian blue for the stamping down here on the leaves, and white Swan for the stamping for the letters.
White Swan, a mix, Bohemian.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
And then we used some acrylic paints on the castings.
The birds in the nest.
Yeah. So let me show you the IOD product. So I came up with this project because I wanted to try the new Sparrow's Nest mold, which was part of the IOD Spring Release. That's this one here. And so the nest and the bird are from that. So
good too. I'm going to get really close on that nest for a minute. Isn't it good?
It turned out so great.
So good.
I was telling Rick, it's kind of funny because every time I start a project with the molds, I think I'm just going to, because I see all these people do these really pretty, very simple painting where they paint it dark and then, maybe light on top and distress it back or drive it. And I always intend to do that. But then I'm like, ooh, what about a little of this color and a little of that color? And that's kind of what happened with this one. And I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. It felt like I was coloring a coloring book.
Oh, meditative, kind of therapeutic, relaxing.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
So those are from the new product, the Sparrow's Nest mold. And then the Hello was from the Apothecary Labels set. This is not brand new, but it's just from like a release or two ago. And this is, what is this called? Typesetting? Yes, I believe this is the typesetting set. It's a 2-stamp set with all the letters and numbers. It has lower and uppercase letters. So that's kind of, for me, I use that a lot. I probably use that more than anything else. And then this one is a retired. You might have a little trouble finding it. This is the birds, branches, and blossoms. That's what I did, the branches and leaves. You could use the brand new, what's it called?
Song, what is it?
Shade and Song. Shade and Song. You could use the brand new Shade and Song. I probably would have done that, but I didn't have any at my house when I was working on this. So anyway, that's what we used.
I thought there was a couple of varieties. The lettering, because IOD offers multiple letters.
Yes.
The branches, there's multiple branches too, like we mentioned.
There's also, so you can find stamps that would work well.
Absolutely. And like you use the nest and the bird and the branches here, there's also other themes that you could build across other products. So anyway, I'm really proud of you, dear. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
You did such a good job. You know, it's funny when Angie first starts a project, she's like, it's kind of in my mind this, and I know we're 25 steps away from what it's really going to look like. So anyway, this is beautiful. You did a great job, dear. Great job.
Well, thank you. And we're going to show you now, we're going to go ahead and show you the actual process, a little edited video, and hopefully, you know, you're inspired to try it. You could replicate this exact project if you'd like, or you might just take a couple of techniques and do your own project.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody that watches. Thank you to everybody that comments. What was it this week? We had Robin found us this week. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Thanks for your comments, and Maria chiming in all the time. So thank you again. Please like, watch, subscribe, comment, all the things. And it helps us out a bunch, and it motivates and encourages us to keep going and do more.
So much, yes.
So great job. Okay, well, I'm going to head over there, and you take over from here.
Sounds good. Thank you. I'm using Deb's DIY in weathered wood, and I'm just going. You could really use any brush. I'm using a Paint Pixie brush. It fits nicely into my little can here. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply one coat over the entire piece. So while my base coat is drying, I'm just going to start casting these lovely little, this is the Sparrow's Nest mold. It's brand new and adorable. I can't wait to see what these look like. So I'm going to use some amazing casting resin. I'll just get this from Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to do the nest first because I'm just dying to see what it looks like. I just start to pour it very carefully so that I can hit. You want to be as exact as possible with your resin. If you don't have the measurements accurate, first of all, your resin might not work out, and you might get a soft spot, or it just might not work well. But you could also damage your mold, so you do want to be really careful to follow the directions and mix the two parts exactly. So there will be 20 grams of part A. And then in a separate container, I'll put part B. Shake this one up too. This one flows a little more easily. But again, we want exactly 20 grams. And now I have exactly 20 grams of each of the parts. Go ahead and pour part B into part A. And since we're trying to be exact, I do try to get as much as I can out of this cup. I want to scrape the sides and the bottom. And it's supposed to be about 1 minute. Now we can pour it into our mold. And the IOD molds have this micro rim right around the edge. And that works great for if you're using the air dry clay. It's something that can kind of help you get a nice clear edge. But I find that when pouring resin, it's also really helpful because it tells you when you've reached the top of your mold. So we are going to give this time. It said it takes about 10 minutes. And you can see it starting. See here? Isn't that awesome? I love to watch that. I'm going to let this dry. So I've been working on this while Rick was running some errands, and you got home just in time to see the magic.
The magic.
Yes, I know.
This is the exciting part.
This is exciting.
Oddly satisfying part of the process.
There is. Do you want to unmold these, or do you want me to?
No, I want you to.
Okay. All right. Which one should we start with? Does it matter to you?
I don't know. I think my inclination is to start at the right and work my way left.
Ah, okay. This is the one I poured first because I was the most excited to see what this smelled like. So we'll save it till last.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, let's see what some of these little flying birds look like. Unmolding is pretty satisfying with resin because it pops out really nicely.
So perfect.
And you ready for this detail?
Oh my goodness, look at that.
Oh, he's got a fat little cheek. He's so cute. Oh,
yeah.
I love him.
That's awesome. Put him on your little thing. There we go. Nice.
Yeah, so.
Nice.
So just to catch you up, I decided to go ahead and cast all these in resin, and that way I can kind of play with them. So because this is a new mold to me, I think it's nice to have all the little pieces so that you can kind of move them around and see what they look like in a composition, because they look very different on a piece than they do just in a mold. Here's his little brother. Isn't he so cute?
Oh, interesting. You made them brother and sister? I made them a couple.
Well, so I went with brother and sister because this big one here is like the mom, I think.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I don't know. I made a little sparrow.
There's
family.
a little drama in your head.
Yes. Oh, and there's the mom. Isn't she beautiful?
Absolutely beautiful.
Okay, so there's those, and there's one more bird. He's different. He's sitting on this little branch. Make sure they're still a teeny bit soft.
Is that like grandma?
I don't know. But adorable.
She's sitting on the porch. Oh, perch.
On the was that really a mistake?
No.
All right. So here's the smaller nest. Oh, look at that detail. That's going to be fun to paint.
Oh my.
I love it.
That looks wonderful. It really does look like a nest. We found a nest on one of our walks, and we took it home and put it on our porch, and it actually looks a lot like that.
It really does. They do such a good job with the detail at IOD. And this is the piece that I've been staring at.
This is the apex.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Ooh, how pretty is that?
Oh, it's got eggs.
It does have eggs. So the brother and sister are going to have some baby brothers and sisters.
Or they're a mom and a dad.
So here are all the pieces laid out, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to I won't use all of those, but I wanted to have all of them there so I could pick and chouse, and I wanted to show you guys what they look like.
You know, it would go good in the background of that.
I know. I know. I pulled out some other stamps because we already took all of them to the booth, so I don't have them here to. I didn't save them out. So I thought I might try. This one is called Birds, Branches, and Blossoms. It's a discontinued set, but I really love it, and I think it might look kind of awesome in the background, but I don't know. We'll see. As you know, I make it up as I go along. So now I'm just using weathered wood as a base coat on the molds that I've selected. I'm going to paint this a larger nest and one of the flying birds. So now I have my stamps laid out on my thin mount, and today I'm going to be stamping with paint. I'm going to use this DIY in White Swan, and I like to water it down just a little bit when I'm going to be using a stamp, because the paint dries pretty quickly. Also, it's pretty thick, so sometimes the imprint just looks better if you have a little bit thinner of a paint. So remember, ink is the easiest to stamp. Paint takes a little more care, a little more patience, and it doesn't always come out perfectly, but I'm actually okay with that because I'm going for quite an aged look on this piece anyway. So let me show you how I do it. So I have added a little bit of water. I don't know if you can see that. Usually chalk paint is quite a bit thicker, but it's still pretty thick, but just thin enough, hopefully, that it'll work well for stamping. So I'm going to use my brayer. We do sell these on our website at harmonivintagedecor.com, or you can pick them up in one of our booths. And I'm also going to use one of these, just a plastic sheet. You could use a paper plate. I mean, really could use anything. What I'm going to use this for is to get my paint onto my brayer so that I can then roll it onto my stamps. So I have marked where I want this blue line on my thin mount to line up with. I also have set it so that the bottom of my thin mount will go against the bottom edge of this sign. So I always like to kind of take a little practice time just to make sure I like the placement of everything and that I can move pretty quickly once I get that paint onto my stamp. Also, I was going to show you when I lay out my stamps, I use one of these lines to line everything up, and it might be different for you, but for me, I like to put the stamps so that they touch each other, and that I like the look of that. It keeps sort of a standard spacing in between all of your letters, because these stamps do have just a tiny little ridge here. So the two ridges touch each other, and that gives it just enough room so that your letters aren't touching each other, but they are basically a standard distance apart. And then I also use these up and down lines to kind of line up my stamps to make sure that they're basically straight. My brayer now has a pretty even coat of paint on it, and I don't want to take too long because this paint is now already starting to dry. So I'm just going to brush it on, or roll it actually, onto all these letters. I might need to get a little bit more. And the IOD stamps are designed to look a little bit distressed, so you can see there are some little spots on there that are kind of designed to not be perfectly smooth. So I'm just going one more time all the way across. Hopefully I have a basically even coat here. Now I'm going to be moving a little bit fast, although I'm not a very fast person, so probably still looks slow. But just like I do with ink, I like to touch every part of the stamp. And I didn't have an extra L for this hello, so this is going to say hello, but for now it's just the first few letters. And I do try to move fairly quickly because even though it's upside down on the piece, that paint is still drying. So now we're going to carefully remove this. Ooh, I like it. I think that looks pretty great. I will need to wash this off. So instead of using a baby wipe like I do for the ink with the paint, I actually will take that into the sink. I'll use a toothbrush and some soap and make sure I get that paint out of all that detail. I thinned out my Bohemian blue a little bit. Just added a little bit of water. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of that onto my plastic sheet. I'm going to use my brayer to spread it out. I'm not really spreading it out. What I'm actually doing is getting an thin, even coat of paint on my brayer. So I want it to look mostly covered in the paint. Remember, we've got to move a little faster because this is paint and it'll start to dry pretty much immediately. So I'm just kind of rolling it onto all these parts. So I like to kind of cover it all the way, and then I get a kind of a fresh roll just to make sure everything's nice and wet. I did get a little bit on my paper. I'm honestly not quite as worried about mistakes with the color because I could always stamp over the top of it, or even use a little brush to fix an area if I don't like it. It's not, the lettering's it needs to be a little more exact, I think. Now we'll see. Hopefully I like the way this looks. I think I will, though. I think even just looking at it like this, I like the color. Okay, let's see. Moment of truth. Oh yeah, that's actually really pretty. I like that a lot. Here's something that I like to do. Like for here, I really would just like to use this one leaf. So what I do is I use a piece of tape to cover up the part of the stamp that I don't want to use, like that. Then when I roll my paint on, then I pull off this taped piece. Now I just have paint on this one leaf, and that way I can lay it down like that. For now, I'm going to go ahead and start painting, dry brushing a pretty thick coat of this blue color. So I saved some of my custom mix. I still have some left here. I also have just a piece of cardboard, because when you're dry brushing, you do get some of the paint on your brush. I didn't put a lot on there, but there's paint on there. And then on the cardboard, I mostly get that paint off, so that when I start brushing my piece, you just get not full coverage. You want it to just kind of hit those high places. And I am doing this one a little heavier than I usually do it, but I want to get down into a little more area than usual because I want this to really pop. It's pretty, isn't it? I love the detail in an IOD mold. Like, it is so pretty. Look at that. Isn't that just fantastic? I'm just going to play with some colors. These may end up changing. I'm going to start with the leaves here on the nest. I'm going to try this acrylic paint in Hauser medium green. And then I'm using a kind of a frayed up little flat brush. And I'm going to do that same dry brush technique that I was doing before, but this time I'm going to go a little bit lighter because I really, I think my my brush has seen better days. I think I need a little bit of tape on here. So I'm just hitting these leaves. So I painted all the leaves. Now I'm going to come back in with actually this light green Hauser color. Same dry brush method. Cleaned my brush and dried it. And now this, I just want to kind of use this as a highlight on these leaves. We'll start with this one down here. And I'm kind of having a good time with these. I wasn't really sure because, I did the first one I did like this was the Santa sleigh mold. And of course, I was in love with that one. I thought it turned out just fantastic. And then I tried the angels, the angelic tapers. I did them both for Christmas and for Valentine's Day, and really loved how those turned out. This one seemed a little more natural, so I wasn't really sure how I was going to paint it. But oh man, this is turning out great. I don't know if anybody else likes to paint their molds like this, but I feel like IOD does all the art, and you just kind of add a little bit of color, and it's so pretty. Look how pretty those are turning out. They're starting to look very three-dimensional. I mean, they are three-dimensional, but that color I think it just brings it all out. So I'm going to try, this is called Pacific Coast. I don't know if it's quite the right color, but we'll give it a try and see. I don't want it to clash with the blue that we have, but I do want it to be different so that they stand out a little bit more. I think I like that. I did end up switching to a little smaller brush for these. They are pretty tiny. And I didn't want to so much dry brush these because I wanted to get a little more coverage. I didn't go all the way to the edges. I kind of wanted to keep a little bit of that weathered wood popping through, and I think I'm happy with them. I'm liking how this is looking.
I love that nest. Oh my goodness. The whole thing looks amazing.
Oh, it's coming together. So I am going to add a little bit of this raw umber. And I'm going to do it mostly kind of under these leaves. At least that's where I'm going to start. So I just added that raw umber around all the leaves and kind of in the center of the nest just to give it a little more depth. And I could probably keep going forever, but
that looks amazing.
Thank you.
You did such a good job.
Thank you. I love it. I'm gonna put a little bit of this out and really I just keep using the same technique. Rick and I were just talking. I told him I feel like this is kind of like doing a coloring book. Really, the IOD sisters have done all the amazing art and detail, and we're really just coloring it in.
It's a 3D coloring book.
Yeah, it kind of is. And man, is it fun. I don't know. We'll see if this is too bright. I'm just doing the dry brushing on the feathers first. And then we'll come in and add some colors, but I think that's kind of pretty.
No, I think it's super pretty, dear.
Let's give this orange a try and see how we like it. And then the very low part of this belly is a lighter color. We'll just put that down here on his belly.
Really good.
So
good job, dear.
Thank you. I might blend these together just a little bit more, but
that looks amazing.
But I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna just add a little bit of black to the eye and the beak. We need a little white spot for his eye. A little white spot for his eye.
And we're back.
We are back, and hopefully you enjoyed that. And I think I covered most of the things. I thought of a couple things that probably weren't in the video. I'll just touch on now.
Sure, go ahead.
So the weathered wood that you can see kind of peeking through here, I did use a 400 grit sandpaper to kind of sand it, and then a little bit of wet distressing too to kind of just make some of that pop through in the background, because I wanted it to look a little old, and I'm actually really happy with how that part turned out.
It gives it kind of texture and dimension, and when it just kind of pops through, it gives it kind of an oldish, kind of worn look.
Yeah, and I had thought about putting clouds, but I wanted my letters to really pop, so that's why I didn't end up putting clouds in the sky.
But that might be a good idea for you. If you wanted to drop some clouds in the background, absolutely. Some other elements.
Or maybe use a different color for your lettering, or not do letters at all. So yeah, I mean, the options are pretty endless.
And why the blue? What spoke to you about the blue?
The blue on the background? It's a very springy color. I had mixed this color in another tutorial where I painted some candle holders.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I really liked the color, and I had some left over, so I thought I would start with it on here. And you know, my process, I always kind of put something on there, see if I like it, and then I might add to it, or I might paint over it. But that one stayed. I put it on and I liked it.
I'm glad. And I love the way you're not afraid to experiment. Like,
yeah,
you are not afraid to fail, and I love that.
A lot of fails, and honestly, fails are usually not really fails, and maybe that's why I'm not scared to do it, because I'll either learn something, or it becomes a part of the final project. Maybe just not, to the extent that I originally envisioned?
Well, it's really encouraging to watch you, quote, fail, and then just come right back at it again and get on top of it and make something beautiful. So,
well, I think that is a part of crafting. Of course, you can, like I said earlier, you can watch this and replicate it on your own, close to exactly how I did. But more than likely, you're gonna find, tune it to your own taste. Maybe try a little different color, try a different saying, try a different arrangement, and that's really fun. And I hope that you'll try that as you're crafting. Just kind of experiment and get your own personality into your piece.
Well, you're inspiring to me watching you work on these pieces, and then your final project here is just awesome, and I can't wait to see it upstairs on the.
I know.
It's going to look good. So
I'm in love with it. Just two more quick little things. I also, of course, had to glue the molds onto the board. I used just some Aleene's tacky glue for that. Glued them on, laid it flat while they dried so they don't slide down, and then you actually sealed it with what was that, like a matte?
And a matte acrylic sealer.
A matte acrylic sealer in a spray can. That way we didn't risk smearing any of the
reactivating anything.
Yes, so. Yes. So that, and now it's ready to use.
That's my 1% contribution right there.
Well, I appreciated it. So
well, you're sweet. You did a great job. This is going to live on upstairs in our decor for a very long time, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, any comments, feel free to drop into the comments. We try to get back to everybody. We appreciate you guys watching so much. Yes. Please like, please share, please subscribe, all the things. And we just really appreciate you guys. So as much as it can be, happy spring from the Rockies. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.